everything we were quite sure of in the last 50, 60, 70 years is now getting questioned. And this is part of a larger, well, you could say an 80-year cycle. Every 80 years, 18, 19 years, the system, the world seems to change. If Putin is allowed to bark and bite, so the master can stay silent in the background. And but Putin understands without China, he's gone. So one day Putin won't be there. And then it will be very interesting to see what China's plans are for Russia.
Absolutely. Gold just broke through $3,000, Willem, and we have to discuss, like, how did we end up here? Maybe that's the can opening question that we'll take it from. So how did we end at $3,000 gold, Willem?
Well, if you look at the gold equities, you would think we're at 1,500. Well, gold's going up because demand for physical is huge out there, and especially is demand by central banks, and that's telling you something. There's a lot of chaos out there, there's a lot of uncertainty out there, there's a lot of geopolitical risk, and of course we have the debasement of the currencies. So that I think that explains almost all.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to dive a little deeper in some of the topics, of course. But if you were to single out one single reason, which one would you choose, Willem?
Well, I think institutional investors and many larger investors only will touch gold when there's a smell of war in the air. Well, we have had war in Ukraine, we've had war in the Middle East. Iran is still a problem which isn't solved. Then you have the chaos now regarding the new Trump administration. Actually, you're aware of, I'm the author of The Big Reset, which I wrote 10 years ago, explaining that we are in the last inning of the current dollar system, and we needed to see large changes coming to the world's financial system around 2020, 2025. Well, we're here now, and I think the reset is happening as we speak. Even the Trump administration is sending out signals now that they want to start restructuring the U.S. debt. So we can expect many changes coming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very volatile environment right now. Every morning we wake up here, my head is spinning, just trying to catch up on the news. You said institutional physical demand. So you're saying it's mostly on the physical side, not in the paper market, that is driving the gold price. Because we've discussed this before, everybody hates the paper market. It's manipulative. It's not backed by anything. What's the ratio still? 210 to 1 or so, paper to physical. So it's interesting that the one is actually moving the needle here, Willem. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, now we see these huge changes in the physical demand as shown by the numbers we've seen coming from London. We've had some official commands even by the Bank of England that lots of physical gold is moving from London to New York. And this also showed, I think, is part of this larger reset. And I think the paper gold and paper silver system, which have been keeping prices down, I think, for the last few decades, that's at least my opinion, that system will be breaking down in a not too distant future. So I think the rapid rise of gold as silver starts to act a bit now as well. I think it's only the start of a much larger revaluation of physical gold and silver.
Yeah, I know we're witnessing it firsthand here. Willem, you mentioned smell of war. And under one of my YouTube videos, I've read a comment that maybe gold is being moved back to the US because of potential war in the EU. I know it's a speculation. And what are your thoughts, though? And the reason I'm asking this is triggered by that Mark Rutte is in the U.S. right now. That's how I ended up with that conclusion. I figured I'd ask you because Mark Rutte is Dutch as well, so it kind of fits. Yeah. But what are your thoughts on that? Especially, and I want to throw the word Poland in here as well, and what they're doing. They just asked to have nukes stationed in Poland as well. So what do you make of that?
Actually, it was a good 10 years ago that Mark Rutte phoned me on my mobile because he read my book and wanted to discuss it. So there's a direct line there. But I'm not that worried about war in Europe. I think that's overplayed and that's used to make people pull their wallet and pay more taxes so we can spend more on military stuff. But with the Trump administration, everything we were quite sure of in the last 50, 60, 70 years is now getting questioned. And this is part of a larger, well, you could say an 80-year cycle. Every 80 years, 18, 19 years, the system, the world seems to change, and we seem to get a new leader. If you look at the world reserve currency, on average, every 92 years, we see a new reserve currency come. So we should see this in the light of the fourth turning, the thesis well explained by Neil Howe in his famous book. So I think it's all part of these bigger changes, which I call a big reset. But it might be especially important for us as gold and silver investors, because of course gold is still highly connected to the US dollar and is still a central part of the financial system.
Yeah, yields of the 10-year have been coming down, which is an indicator, of course, that there's something amiss because people run to safe haven. We've seen a bit of sector rotation or money rotation out of the tech stocks into bonds, potentially just the last 10 days. But we have to talk about yields, because one way to entice your potential debtors is higher yields, of course. And how interesting are 4.2 or 4% on a 10-year if you have a default risk here?
Well, I'm hearing signals coming from new administration that they want to offer 100-year zero coupon bonds, so that those bonds won't bring any yield. So it's a very messy situation, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more volatility on financial markets, because markets will start to get very nervous pretty soon, probably.
Oh, well, I think they are. VIX has kicked up this week quite a bit. It's not in a territory where we should all get nervous, but volatility has dramatically increased, of course. I brought up the 50-year bond.
The valuations are still quite high, and that's why a broader correction is probably in the cards. But we might first have a last run, a retest of the record highs. So I'm in the hunter camp, so to say, and then we could have a much larger correction there.
Yeah, no, we had Dave Hunter on last week, or no, actually this week, just a couple of days
I
ago,
listened
and
to it, yeah.
oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah, no, and he said, well, the correction was actually stronger than he expected, but he sees a bounce back in the markets, and I'm curious how that's going to play out, because where is that strength supposed to come from? How does Nvidia has to like double or triple to push the S&P 500 to those high levels that he suggests? So I'm curious how that will play out. But I quickly want to come back to the confidence topic, Willem. And Judy Shelton has been suggesting, and I think others have been jumping on that train as well, a 50-year gold-backed bond. Like back something with a real asset, and of course, gold, tier one asset. What are your thoughts on that? Like, is that even feasible?
Well, to make a gold-backed bond, you first need the gold, and maybe these huge moves of physical gold from London to the US is a sign of things to come. Nobody really knows. Only I think some insiders within the administration know what plans are being built now. But it's also interesting to see the Bitcoin reserve being started now. That could be a game changer. And I'm afraid most of the people still don't understand how revolutionary this new administration is. It's so much will change over, well, relative little time.